It was, for a time, the most feared warship afloat. A 51,000-ton behemoth of armor and steel, a masterpiece of German engineering. On May 24, 1941, the Bismarck faced down the pride of the Royal Navy and, in 6 minutes, annihilated HMS Hood with a single catastrophic salvo. It shrugged off heavy gunfire and vanished into the Atlantic, seemingly invulnerable. 48 hours later, it was a crippled, burning wreck. But it wasn't the 16-inch shells of a battleship that doomed it. The fatal blow, the one-in-a-million shot, was delivered by an obsolete, canvas-covered biplane, flying in a gale. How does a fortress of the sea, the pinnacle of naval design, get neutralized by an antique? This is the story of the Bismarck and the engineering flaw that sealed its fate. We will dissect how it was designed and why it failed. To understand the Bismarck, we must first understand the strategic desperation that built it. Germany, in the late 1930s, knew it could never match the sheer size of Britain's Royal Navy, ship for ship. The Plan Z naval construction program was its ambitious solution. Not to win a decisive fleet battle, but to sever Britain's transatlantic lifeline. The Bismarck and its sister ship Tirpitz were the terrifying centerpieces of this doctrine. They were not designed to brawl with other battleships. They were designed as predators. Bismarck was a commerce raider, a self-sufficient hunter built for speed, endurance, and overwhelming firepower. Its purpose was to break out into the vast emptiness of the North Atlantic and run rampant among the slow, vulnerable convoys carrying food, fuel, and weapons to a besieged Britain. Its 38-centimeter main guns could destroy any convoy escort, and its advanced 30-knot speed, faster than any British battleship, meant it could choose its fights and escape any trap.
They must be stopped here before they reach the convoy lanes.
Agreed. Deploy Group
Its
Baker
mere
immediately.
existence was a strategic nightmare for the Admiralty. When Bismarck, accompanied by the heavy cruiser Prinz Eugen, slipped its moorings in occupied Norway in May 1941 for its first mission, Operation Rheinübung, the panic was immediate. The entire home fleet was mobilized. Dozens of capital ships, cruisers, destroyers, and aircraft carriers were diverted from duties around the globe for one singular purpose: find and destroy this ship at any cost. The Bismarck wasn't just a ship, it was a mortal threat to Britain's survival. This desperation would lead to one of the most relentless pursuits in naval history, forcing the hunters to take extraordinary risks. When we dissect the Bismarck today, using its original blueprints, we see a machine of immense contradictions. It was, in many respects, the most powerful warship of its time. Its design was a refinement of First World War lessons, built around a concept known as the all-or-nothing citadel. Imagine a massive armored box. This citadel, highlighted here in our 3D cross-section, contained everything essential for the ship to fight and survive. The magazines, holding thousands of tons of explosives. The vast engine rooms, generating 150,000 horsepower. And the primary fire control centers. This box was sealed by an armor belt, 320 millimeters, 12.6 inches thick, angled to deflect incoming shells, and capped with an armored deck up to 120 millimeters thick. The logic was simple: waste no weight armoring non-essential areas like the bows or stern. Concentrate all protection around the vitals. Inside this box, Bismarck was virtually indestructible by contemporary naval guns at typical battle ranges. Its offensive power was just as formidable. 8 38cm, 15-inch guns in 4 massive turrets, all guided by an exceptionally advanced stereoscopic range-finding and radar system. This Fumo 23 radar, combined with superb German optics, gave Bismarck a terrifying accuracy, as HMS Hood learned catastrophically. The ship was a near-perfect balance of speed, protection, and firepower. But our forensic analysis reveals a critical and ultimately fatal design assumption. A ship is more than an armored gun platform. It must be able to maneuver. Let's move our view aft, past the huge engine rooms, past the rear turrets, all the way to the stern. Here, outside the main armored citadel, we find the ship's steering gear. Bismarck was designed with impressive redundancy. It featured 2 rudders, one behind the other, to provide excellent high-speed maneuverability. But both of these rudders were controlled by a single, complex steering gear room. This compartment, which we can see isolated here, contained the powerful electric motors and massive mechanical linkages required to turn the 2 250-ton rudders against the force of the sea. And this room, this single vital nerve center, was located outside the citadel. It had its own armored box, yes, but it was thinner, and most importantly, it was isolated. It was not integrated into the main protective shell. This design created a single point of failure. If this one compartment could be reached, if this one mechanism could be jammed, the Bismarck's 30-knot speed, its 320mm armor belt, and its 15-inch guns would be rendered utterly irrelevant. The fortress would be trapped, unable to aim, unable to flee. It was a ticking time bomb, an Achilles heel waiting for a 1 in a million shot. The hunt had gone cold. After sinking the Hood, Bismarck had famously shaken its pursuers by executing a 270-degree turn, vanishing from British radar. But it had taken heavy damage. A shell from HMS Prince of Wales had ruptured a forward fuel tank, contaminating its oil supply and, crucially, severing access to over 1,000 tons of fuel. The Predator was now bleeding. Captain Lutyens, realizing his mission was impossible, set a new course, not for the open Atlantic, but for the occupied port of Saint-Nazaire, France, for repairs. For 2 days, the Royal Navy searched frantically. Finally, a lone Catalina flying boat, stretching its endurance to the limit, spotted the behemoth. The entire British force, led by Admiral Tovey's flagship, HMS King George V, and the carrier Ark Royal, converged. But Bismarck was still faster than Tovey's battleships. It was pulling away, just hours from the protective range of Luftwaffe air cover from France. There was only one chance. Ark Royal, pitching violently in a force 8 gale, turned into the wind. 15 Fairey Swordfish, obsolete biplanes, nicknamed stringbags by their crew, slumbered off the deck. They were fabric skin, open cockpit relics, flying barely 90 knots against winds gusting over 60. Their only weapon was a single 18-inch torpedo. This is a 3D reconstruction of that final, desperate attack. The time is 2047, May 26th. The light is failing. The Swordfish crews, battling intense, accurate anti-aircraft fire from Bismarck's 100 flak guns, dive low, skimming the tops of the 50-foot waves. The ship is maneuvering wildly. The pilots drop their torpedoes, set to run shallow. Most are near misses or hit the main armor belt, detonating harmlessly. But one, just one, launched from the starboard quarter, runs true. Bismarck's frantic, evasive turn exposes its stern. Our forensic model shows the torpedo's path. It doesn't strike the citadel. It strikes the one place the armor isn't, the extreme aft. The 450-pound warhead detonates precisely against the port side of the stern, just abreast of the steering gear assembly. The explosion itself doesn't penetrate the hull. It doesn't need to. The hydraulic shockwave, magnified by the incompressible water, does the real damage. This visualization shows the result. The blast violently kicks the port rudder, twisting its massive 250-ton stock and locking it hard over 12 degrees to port. Simultaneously, the shockwave slams the parallel starboard rudder, jamming it in a 15-degree port position. Inside the steering gear room, the mechanism is mangled. The ship's wheel on the bridge is now useless. Frantic attempts by damage control teams, even divers in the flooded compartments, to free the rudders fail. Bismarck is now trapped in a permanent left-hand turn, slowed to just 7 knots, unable to steer, and pointing directly back into the wind, into the sea, and into the waiting guns of the British home fleet. The 1 in a million shot had landed. The final battle, on the morning of May 27th, was not a battle. It was an execution. Trapped in its port circle, the Bismarck could not hold a steady course. In the heavy gale, the ship weathercocked, swinging uncontrollably in the wind and waves, its advanced fire control systems, unable to calculate a stable firing solution, were rendered useless. It couldn't bring its main guns to bear. The battleships King George V and Rodney closed to point-blank range, inside 3,000 yards, and began a systematic, brutal dissection. Our analysis of the after-action reports is telling. The British ships poured over 700 main-caliber shells and thousands of smaller ones into the German giant. And yet, the citadel held. For nearly 2 hours, the armored box protecting the engines and magazines remained largely unbreached. Bismarck did not die from a catastrophic explosion like the Hood. It was silenced, turret by turret. Its superstructure pulverized into a burning ruin, but it refused to sink. It was finally scuttled by its own crew, its watertight integrity compromised by torpedoes, and the sheer volume of internal damage. This is the ultimate tragic irony of the Bismarck. Its armor, the very thing that made it seem invincible, worked exactly as designed. The ship failed because of what that armor didn't protect. Here, in our final analysis, is the answer to our question. The fatal blow from the swordfish didn't destroy the ship. It simply found its one catastrophic vulnerability. The tragic flaw of the Bismarck was not a lack of steel, but a failure of design philosophy. Its engineers had created a near-perfect fortress, but overlooked that a fortress must be able to aim. By placing the complex, vital steering gear outside the main armored citadel, they created a single point of failure. The 1 in a million shot from an obsolete biplane didn't need to penetrate 300 millimeters of armor. It just had to find the unprotected nerve, paralyzing the beast and leaving it to be torn apart at leisure. The wreck of the Bismarck, found in 1989, lies 3 miles down, its hull largely intact, a silent testament to the strength of its citadel. It is a profound, deep-sea monument to a fatal oversight, a reminder that in the unforgiving laboratory of the sea, the most complex machine is only as strong as its most vulnerable, essential part.